last column on the right, where you have 104 candidates who are registered under the category of others. Now, Mama, these others are these other conditions such as asthma, sickle cell, anemia, epilepsy, and such other conditions that have an impact on the way the candidates perform. So these are not given any particular consideration except that they are allowed 45 more minutes for each of the papers that they write. Most of the candidates at the three principal passes, or 52%, are in this category. For the prisons inmates, we have them in table 10. As I have already said, Mama, these start from the Uganda Upper Prison, Luzira, and they were at three principal level pass, 25 of them passed. At 2P, we have 13, and one principal level, we have 10, and one was absent. And Mama, as we said, all of them qualified for the UACE certificate with at least one principal pass. There was only one absent, but the majority of them were males, that is 93.8%. Mama, allow me to make some brief comments on the work of the candidates. Performance of candidates has shown significant improvements in economics, literature in English, physics, and biology. But we have also noted significant drops in levels of performance in entrepreneurship education, Christian religious education, geography, mathematics, agriculture, and chemistry. Mama, grades for the science subjects have continued to be much lower than for the humanities, which are usually better done. And Mama, we can look back at the tables that I have already presented to confirm this. In the humanities, the problems continue to be poor interpretation of questions due to misunderstanding the key concepts that determine the expected responses by the candidates. In history, for example, inadequate critical thinking skills limited the candidate's ability to analyze historical views. The National Constitution is a major reference material in one of the papers in the subject of history, and the candidates who offered this paper exhibited very limited exposure to the Constitution. This probably goes for the majority for very many citizens of this country as well. In economics, candidates showed inability to relate their responses to real-life situations by using relevant examples, especially about their own country, Uganda. Poor mathematical skills also affected their responses in areas where they needed these skills. Poor syllabus coverage also appeared to be a case in many centers, as evidenced by poor responses to questions from several topics, for example, the national income, market structures, taxation, the monetary policy, and so on. These topics tend to come towards somewhere in senior 6, and so those that have not covered the syllabus properly will probably miss out on these. One of the requirements in entrepreneurship education is that the students should gain practical skills through internship in business firms. However, Mama, information available to us indicates that business firms are unwilling to offer placement for these learners. In some cases, the learners are even being asked to pay to get placement. This lack of practical exposure impacts their performance in the examination. The Holy Bible and the Holy Quran are key reference materials in religious education. However, our examiners have reported low levels of knowledge and inability to apply the teachings of the holy books to everyday life situations. This we have also seen earlier, where the cry from the markers indicate that people cannot effectively quote from the Bible or the Quran or use the knowledge that they have in everyday situations. Geography is one of the subjects where performance dropped, and examiners reported poor skills in using the various statistical methods available to explain geographical phenomena. Also, they showed poor application of fieldwork skills to explain daily geographical issues, and candidates are also not relating the theory to the environment. The paper on the geography of Uganda, surprisingly, has always been poorly done. The problem of inadequate map interpretation skills has also persisted because, Mama, we have reported this before. UNEB examines a number of local languages at this level. Candidates offering these languages showed a lack of knowledge of the relevant cultural practices, the meanings of proverbs, and the use of proverbs in sentences. They have also shown lack of appropriate vocabulary to be able to write meaningful translations. That is, if they have to translate a passage from English language, for example, to their local languages, or if they have to write a composition in the local language. In the sciences, the general problem of inadequate practical exposure continues to impact performance. Many candidates could not describe experimental procedures or fail to interpret experimental setups from diagrams that are given in the questions, especially this happened in physics. Some candidates even gave results from experiments without showing how they were obtained. There is also the challenge of relating science concepts to real-life situations. Detailed reports on the work of candidates in each of these will be prepared and sent to schools. Mama, the underlying problem that we have seen in all the subject areas is that as we transition to having competency-based assessment and competency-based teaching, there is the problem of candidates relating the knowledge that they have to real-life situations. Anything that requires candidates to do this, we have observed that performance has not been good. Examination malpractice. Mama, as the chair has said, the cases have been low. Cases were reported from only 38 centers out of the 2,255 centers, and these few will be dealt with in accordance with the regulations. Our gratitude. Honorable Minister, Mama, we give thanks and praise to God for His mercies and faithfulness. As the chair has said, the year 2024 was not easy because we had to deliver 4 examinations, including the first one based on the new curriculum for the lower secondary level. There were many steps we were taking for the first time. That we are here today, Mama, presenting to you the last of the 4 examinations is real testament of God's grace and kindness to us. We could not do this on our own. We are very grateful to you, Mama, for your solid support in all those areas which were critical for the successful completion of our tasks. I am grateful to the chairperson and members of the Parliamentary Committee on Education and Sports for appropriating the necessary funds. I am also grateful to the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development for releasing these funds to us. I wish to sincerely thank the chairperson and members of the board for their guidance at policy and oversight level. The permanent secretary and the senior staff of the Ministry of Education and Sports, its agencies and other institutions greatly assisted the board in various ways before and during the conduct of the examination. The area supervisors, heads of examination centers, scouts, invigilators, all these worked very well with the board, resulting in a very smooth examination process. And Mama, we sincerely thank them. I'm equally grateful, and I want to extend my appreciation to the Uganda Police, the Uganda People's Defense Forces, and other security agencies that assisted the board to conduct a smooth examination. I am very grateful to the examiners who reported to mark the scripts. Mama, unlike with some examiners at UCE, examiners at this level carried out their work very professionally and patriotically, and we did not have any issues of people wanting to go on strike or putting down their pens. I thank the institutions that allowed the board to use their premises as marking centers. I also thank the parents and guardians for supporting the candidates through the UACE stage in their educational journey. And I am indebted to the members of the press who actively highlighted and publicized UNEB activities throughout the examination period. I thank all